All right, welcome everybody to another week here at Heroes and Hooligans playing Gilded Destinies, episode 10. When we last left off, our players had just gotten Grandpa's house all set up and done a little bit of poking around at the family business, where we met the new manager as well as got a new job for Cocola's dear cousin that is much more in line with her wants and skills. When we return, everyone is just bedding down for the night at Grandpa's house. How about we go over a little bit of our nighttime routine here? Who do we think? Does anybody think they're heading are they just a straight sleep person? Y'all chatting a little?
Resnor's straight to sleep.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Zenlin will stay up and chat a little, but I imagine he goes to bed relatively early.
Yeah. Yeah, so as things begin to sort of wind down for the night, Zenlin, you stand up and head off to go do your meditation. Grandpa has cleared out the indoor larder and has had it turned into essentially a bunk situation for the 5 of you. There are 3 bunk beds in here, two against the side walls, 1 against the back wall. And you can bed down wherever you like for your nightly meditation.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably just go to a corner and sit with his back against the wall or something.
Yeah. All right. Moving back out into the common area, your grandfather stands up slowly. Coca-Cola looks around at everybody. Well, make yourselves comfortable, and I'm going to go bed down for the night, early morning tomorrow and all that.
Yeah, thanks again, Gramps. We'll see you in the morning.
Of course, always, my dear. And he sort of puts his hand on your cheek and just smiles down at you before walking off.
He just gives me that look at that Poonim look.
Yeah. Those of you who are still up, what are you up to?
Yeah, I think Nicole just kind of winding down from the day. It's been a lot going on, right? We had meetings and we picked up the new jobs and such and such. The family came by, the new larder got built, all of that. It's just kind of a lot going on, and her mind is kind of spinning still. So she's just gonna kind of chill in the common area, watch the fire burn a little, probably drink some pre-bedtime ale, because why wouldn't she? Well, here it would be Iron Gut mead. She'd drink some pre-bedtime mead.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of relax and let everybody head off to sleep, do what they need to do.
So Coca-Cola, you're just sort of chilling in one of the armchairs here in the common room.
Mhm.
Jillian, what are you up to?
Jillian's going to be just checking her bags, and she's checking ingredients, making sure she has some spells prepared for tomorrow, making sure that she's prepared to do if anybody needs some healing, or if anybody has, a hangover or an upset stomach, she's going to be ready for that.
Sounds wonderful.
When you're ready to go to sleep, Jill's bottom bunk's yours. You know the drill.
Got it. I'll do that.
All right. And Resnor, what are you up to before you head off to bed?
Resnor's probably just gonna go follow Zenlin to the room he went into and kind of just lean against the wall and pass out.
All right. So as everyone goes to bed down, Coca-Cola, you're still sitting here in your armchair. You see your friends drift off to head to the room one by one. and you are left alone in a quiet room with nothing but the crackle of the fire in the fireplace to keep you company, the popping of the logs as they heat. And sitting here in this house built of big, sturdy brick and stone, you feel a little bit of a connection to your people, more of one than you've had in quite some time. You know, you didn't really have this connection to your history and your heritage in Sharn. You had a different heritage that you were trying to live up to, and you have a feeling like there's nothing to live up to here. There's acceptance of you as you are, and belief that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think she just kind of like looks around and takes it all in, watches the fire burn, kind of lets everybody falls asleep. She listens intently to the different noises around, always actively listening. And she's familiar with the breathing patterns of most people in her party by now, so she's able to listen. Like when, Reznor starts snoring and Jillian goes into that like low, deep breathing, and Zenlin is doing Zenlin things in a trance, and Jolly just sleeps his little heart away too. He's a pretty quiet sleeper, that Jolly. So she kind of just listens for everybody's pace to change. She can hear her grandpa snoring in his room, and she'll get up and she'll walk over to the table where all the dishes were, clean everything up, put stuff away, be quiet about it as she can be. And
Yeah.
she'll scrape like all the leftovers into one bowl because most everybody cleaned their plates, but there's still some little chunks of bread and cheese and some of the stew left over, and she'll put it all in one bowl. And when she's sure that everybody's sleeping and everything's cleaned up and tidied, she'll slip out the front door.
Yeah. Just go ahead and give me a stealth check. Real easy here. DC 7.
I got a 30.
A 30. Okay. There we go. So yeah, Coca-Cola, silent as the night, quick as a thief. You clean up all the dishes, scrape most of them into one bowl, and slip out the front door. And
Yeah, so when I get to the front door...
Yeah, you've got some purpose to you, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you move on out the door.
Yeah, and I'll stop for a minute and kind of look up at the sky, take in the stars and the moon and whatever phase that it's in currently. Appreciate the fact that you can see the stars better here because it's out in the country. It's not the city of Sharn where there's the constant glow of the the mage lights and the elemental magics and the noise from the train running all hours. And it's a city that never sleeps. And so she'll kind of like breathe that in and make her way around towards the back of the house. Her grandfather's got an apiary out there, and there's something very particular inside of that apiary that she'd like to go to. So she will make her way to the house and do so.
Yeah. As you look up at the stars in the sky, you're looking up and you can see that the moons are beautiful tonight, all 12 of them, very clearly visible. But the most brightly shining of them is the moon Therendor, the ascendant moon of this month.
Okay. Yeah, so
as you
soak that in.
Oh, yeah. As you walk over towards the apiary, you feel with every step your feet become more firmly rooted against the ground. You're not having any trouble walking, but it feels almost like you're sliding across the ground rather than picking up your feet and stepping each time. And it almost feels like something's pulling you towards the apiary.
Yes.
As you walk in to the center of the beehives here, you see smack in the middle of your grandfather's 13 hives, there is a small pile of stones, not very high, maybe about knee high, and only about a foot and a half wide at its largest point. But there's a small stack of stones here with a few wildflowers scattered around them and a few char marks on the one on top.
Yeah, so she'll go out and she'll go straight for the stones. She is already moving with purpose, but as she sort of starts to feel more of a connection with the area around her, more open to her heritage than she was ever able to be before, she kind of not only moves with a purpose, but like with a pull at the same time, like two driving forces pushing her in the same direction. And she'll go to the stone stack and she'll count them, and it will be one stone for every head of the Iron Gut family. You know, the head, when they take over, puts a stone on the stack. It's one stone for everyone, except for the bottom stone. So when she gets up to the stack, she'll kneel down in front of it, and on the right side of the bottom stone, she'll feel around underneath of it for where the stone feels just slightly different, and she'll push it, and on the opposite end will pop out a little box, and when the little box pops out, it'll have some matches and some cloths that are like soaked in some sort of like bear fat or some sort of tallow to make them, you know, easily ignitable. And she'll take the bowl and she'll put the bowl on top. It's an earthenware bowl. It can contain a fire, and she'll set it there on top. And when she does, she'll, you know, use the matches, strike a match, put the cloth in the center, and light the cloth so that like it kind of starts to burn down. And as like the cloth burns, the fat will kind of melt down onto whatever there is to continuously perpetuate the fire.
Yeah. You light this fire and watch as your offering drips down the side of the stones. And you see that despite the fire being at the peak, the stones seem to distribute the heat evenly between them, with all of them starting to glow just a faint red.
Yeah, so as like the last stone sort of lights up, she'll wipe where the soot is on the top rock, because she didn't put everything directly on the rock, but some people may burn offerings directly on it. She'll wipe some of the soot, and she'll write the dwarven rune for protection on her own forehead with it, and she'll start to say some things when she, as she does it. Almighty stone, firm and unyielding, we bow before you, our hearts revealing. In caverns deep where darkness dwells, your strength and wisdom our spirits compels. From the depths of the earth you were born, a foundation strong, never to be torn. Your ancient presence a steadfast guide. Through trials and tribulations we confide. Grant us endurance like the mountains tall. Grant us resilience when the shadows befall. With each strike of the hammer, each chisel's blow, may our craftsmanship to your glory show. Bless our tunnels, our mines, and our halls, with precious ores and gems your gifts enthrall. May your veins run deep with treasures untold, a testament to your power forever bold. In times of danger, we seek your protection. Shield us from harm with your divine connection. Grant us courage as we face the unknown. With your presence, we are never alone. O stone, our foundation, our sacred ground, in your embrace, strength and purpose are found. Guide our steps as we journey through life. With your wisdom, we conquer every strife. So we raise our voices in reverence and praise to the stone eternal in ancient ways. Forever grateful, we shall forever be to the stone, our guardian for eternity. And that's her little thing that she does. And by the
Yeah.
end of it, her voice has sort of a lit to it where it sounds like she is kind of singing some, but it's a different kind of singing. There's a definite reverberation in her vocal cords that sort of hums like the rock hums before her with that little faint red energy. So just her connecting with, the freaking Stones, man.
Yeah. And as you say the word eternity, a faint rumble comes from the ground before you. And give me a perception check, DC 5. Or actually, you have a passive of 19. You spot it
Not
automatically.
anymore. I do not
Not
have a
anymore?
passive anymore. No,
Okay.
not when I change things around. But I'll give you a perception. No worries.
Yeah.
I've got an 18.
All right. You feel that rumble coming from above as well. Does Coca-Cola look up, or does she keep her gaze fixed on the stones before her?
This is one time where I've ever wished I had a cross-eyed character that could look two directions at once because I would love to do both. I think she'll slowly kind of lift her eyes because she didn't expect another rumble, especially from freaking above. So she'll kind of like slowly go from the bottom to up.
Yeah, as you slowly look up, it actually gets a little bit harder to see because as you look up, it's brighter and brighter as you turn your face towards the sky, and you can see out, just further out than the atmosphere itself, a bright glowing dot that's growing bigger and bigger, coming from the ring of Siberius, the asteroid field that surrounds the planet. Give me a dexterity save.
Oh, fucking joy. I'm all right at those. Let's see how well this goes. Wow, I am all right at those, but I rolled a nat 1
Oof.
for
Alright.
a 9.
So as this light grows brighter and brighter, you realize that this is not just a light in the sky. This isn't something out past the sky anymore. It was, but it's moving very, very quickly towards you. And you hear a massive crash as it slams into the dirt right behind the stack of stones in front of you. The stack
Oh.
holds strong as burning dirt flies in, hitting you. And let's see.
Grandpa's gonna kill me.
12, 16, 15, 25. You're going to take 32 points of fire damage.
Can I uncanny that to half it?
I'll say yeah. You saw it coming.
So half of 32 is
16.
16. Damn.
Right. And you see just behind the stone stack a glowing shard. It looks crystalline and is glowing from the inside with blue and purple light.
I will approach it, but I don't want to touch it with my hands. But I have lots of tools.
Give me just a knowledge nature looking at it first. And you can use stone cutting for this.
What is my stone cutting advantage anyways? I should probably look at that.
Let's see, add proficiency, I believe. Or double proficiency, maybe.
When you make an intelligence history check related to stonework, considered proficient in history and add double your proficiency bonus to the check.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So let's see. Proficiency, so 6 and 11 is 17.
17.
Mhm.
You immediately recognize this as a dragon shard. Though, much like the one you've already seen in the past few weeks, it's a little off. It is almost oval in shape, like most dragon shards from Siberia's, but the colors are different than usual. And you feel power in it just from where you're standing.
Okay. So
And you see that it is the exact size of the rest of this stack of stones.
the shard itself is as big as the stack of stones.
As every other stone in it.
Okay,
correct.
so it's like a river rock size opal.
Yeah.
And just for D&D Beyond's sake, if I'm not mistaken, since this is coming from Siberis, is this a Siberis dragon shard?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Make sure I'm gonna pick it up. But I also want to assess the damage around the area and make sure none of the hives in the apiary have caught fire from this blazing crystalline crash to the ground.
Yeah. You look around and it looks like the embers blew out from the point of impact, but they didn't. They've all seemed to have stopped in a perfect circle about half a foot in front of where the hives are. So there
Good.
is the hives in a semicircle around the stone sack in the center, and then around that, going for about 10 to 11 feet and stopping just before the hives, is a perfect circle of disturbed earth.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to make sure I run my foot around the edge with my boot, make sure any remaining embers or anything like that gets covered up with some dirt. And I'm going to make a
Seems
mental
like they
note
burnt
that.
It does seem like they burnt out very quickly. Basically, the initial spray was the only heat.
Yeah, great.
But yeah,
She's just kind of grumbling a little bit. Like the one time I decide to come out here and connect with my heritage in the last however many years, and this is the shit I get myself into. It's kind of comedic.
Yeah.
But she'll pocket the shard.
So what are you doing with the... Yeah, so you reach down to pick the shard up, and as it rests in your hand, you have a flash of thoughts that you don't feel are your own. And they seem to ring with the same notes as your prayer. Sturdiness, protection, keep them safe. A safe place. Home.
Just like shake it off a little, like I gotta be getting tired. The mead's gotta be kicking in because this is just all extremely coincidental.
On
She'll
that,
tuck it in.
on saying this is all extremely coincidental, give me an insight check. I'm going to say you really want to roll high here.
Yeah, well, what I really want to do and what the dice want me to do are two totally different things. I have an 11.
Cool. Yeah, this is a very odd, strange of coincidences. And with the situation you've been in lately and your recent, speaking with your grandfather, you think back to something that he loved to say when you were young, when he was telling stories about his adventuring days. One time is an accident, 2 times is happenstance, 3 times is enemy action. And you pocket your
Well-
shard.
Yep. I'm not even putting it in my pocket. I'm going to put it in my Tinker's Tools pouch.
Yeah, you
I'll
put
pick it up
it into your Tinker's Tools pouch, and you see the heat on the stone stack from your offering and the subsequent meteor strike dissipate as they all fade back to a slate gray.
Yeah, she's going to bed. This is a lot. She's been drinking. It's been a long day. I'm starting to see shit. I'm hearing shit.
All right.
Time's up.
All right.
I'm not even crawling
you
in the
head
top
off
bunk
to bed.
when I go inside. I'm just crawling straight in bed with Jillian. I'm not even getting in the top bunk. I'm too tired. Shit's too messed up. I'm not trying to trip and fall. My luck is not really the greatest. Jillian, you're gonna be Little Spoon.
Yeah, Jillian, you've drifted off a little bit ago, but you wake up to feel Coca-Cola pushing her way into bed with you. Still a little, drowsy, half awake.
She
Share
just
the
sort
blanket.
of she just sort of looks over and is like, just pushes up the pillow and goes back to sleep immediately.
I want to say it's not the first time that Coca-Cola has crawled into bed with Jillian over the years.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Oh my.
We were young warthogs once upon a time. We had our tavern hopping days, our plenty of nights where we didn't know we were making it home. And when we did, sleep fell where sleep fell. That's why I know Jillian's the Little Spoon.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to dream of meteors and glowing rocks and talking dragon shards.
All right. It's honestly not a very restful sleep for you, Coca-Cola. You'll still gain the benefits of a long rest and everything, but your dreams are filled with fires burning, stones raining from the heavens, and stones rising from the deep. Give me a wisdom check. Just a raw wisdom.
Just raw wisdom. 16.
16. When you do finally awaken, the thing that sticks in your head most from those dreams is seeing what looked like a massive stone claw rise out of the earth. You think if you think on that anymore, you'll remember the environment around it. It was filled with jungles. There was a river running nearby, and you think you see not too far, but off in the distance still, the entrance to what looks like a series of caves.
Okay, so a massive claw. Massive stone claw. You said jungles?
Yeah, surrounded by jungles, a river, and caves in the distance.
Cool.
Congratulations, by the way,
Congratulations. I'm
Yeah.
awesome.
on
What
forging
did I
your new path.
Yeah. I'm feeling, you know what? When I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling stiff as stone because not only did Jillian hog all the blanket, she didn't even share the second pillow. So I slept flat on the bunk. So I'm stiff as stone, but after I kind of get my life together a little bit and grumble and have breakfast beers, then I'm back to normal. And I got a pep in my step. You know, kind of the way when you skip a stone, it like bounces across the water. That's how Cocola's walking
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah, you notice that, as you go about your morning routine, that stiffness becomes less and less uncomfortable. The feeling of it remains with you, so none of the, bodily aches or pains that go with it. And what does everyone else do as they get up for the day? Start with Zenlin.
I mean, Zenlin probably has a morning routine, especially when he's on like an area that he knows is safe. So he'll do like a short, extremely short run at Cedra. The whole like soldier PT morning workout type thing goes through like various hand signs, and is probably coming back in and does not have a pep in his step today.
Yeah. Zenlin, give me what's your passive perception?
14, 9 if it's in direct sunlight.
You went out pretty early in the morning. I'll say the sun wasn't quite up yet when you did your calisthenics. And you did notice in the area of the apiary a circle around that stone stack. Looks like somebody did something to the ground there. It's perfectly level, but it looks like somebody's been drawing in the dirt, maybe.
Okay, noted.
Would you like to go take a closer look at it, or do you just want to finish up with your morning workout and head back in?
I mean, when you say it looks like somebody's been like drawing in the dirt, do you mean like lines that could be symbols, or like it just looks like someone was dragging?
It looks like lines that could be writing of some sort.
Then yeah, he'll probably go see if he recognizes any of it or anything.
Awesome. Do you speak Dwarven or Giant?
I do speak Giant.
Wonderful. You'll recognize the outer edges of this circle, the outer half, is filled with giant writing that says, essentially, this land is blessed and protected in honor of our descendants.
Okay.
May those who trod upon it never fear, and may those who come with ill purpose fall and rejoin the dirt.
Noted. Dwarvish land blessing. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll like note that he saw it and remember it, but I don't think he necessarily views it as that out of the ordinary.
No, it seems like a pretty standard blessing to you. Resnor, you were next to bed, I believe, or was that you, Jillian? We'll go with Resnor. Resnor, what are you up to in the morning?
Resler will probably just get up. He's gonna do a lot of stretching, and he'll probably go outside and do a little like small workout, just kind of get the blood flowing, get him awake for the day.
All right. And I believe your passive is lower than Zenlin's, correct?
Yeah, his is a 12.
Yeah. So you don't notice that off the cuff, but you get your little bit of a morning workout in. It's pretty good. Is there anything you'd like to go check on or check out while you're up?
No, he'll kind of keep an eye on the tree line just to see if he notices any movement from the long-tooth he knows are around the area. But other than that, he'll just kind of stick towards the house.
Sure. Just give me a perception check.
Perception. 19.
19. I'll say on a 19, you don't see any activity, but you do notice that there's some branches along the path you took yesterday exploring that are newly broken.
Okay, he'll keep that in mind.
All right, and then Jillian.
When Jillian goes downstairs, she's going to look and see what there is to, maybe make a fruit smoothie or something like that, and try and get Cocola's grandpa to drink it.
All right. So you head on out to go take a look in the cellar and see what's in there. You see right now it's mostly stocked with non-perishables, but there are a few things of like, there's some fruits there, some of those mellorunes that Resnor tried yesterday, a couple of oranges, and some apples.
All right, yeah, she's gonna grab that, and I'm trying to remember if she's trying to remember the right balance to really give the grandpa like some fiber, make sure he's getting some good vitamins, not too tart, not too sweet, maybe a little bit of the honey from outside, and mixes him up a smoothie and say, hey, try it.
Yeah, I'll say I will allow you to make a medicine check with half proficiency for this, since you're applying a skill in a way it wouldn't normally be used. Or if you have chef's tools, you can use those with full proficiency.
Okay, she's got alchemy. Well, she's got proficiency in herbalism kit. Would let's see, with half that, so that would be, it's a +7, so that would be
Half your
2.5.
proficiency would just take 2 away.
Okay.
So at a +5.
+5. All right. And nope, that didn't come through. Sheet, and then go 20. Still not rolling. Okay, I'll roll here.
Yeah, feel free to just use your physical dice and let me know what your results are.
16 plus 5.
21. You make a damn good smoothie. And Grandpa is going to get his level of permanent exhaustion from being old removed for the day.
Excellent. Does he seem like he likes the flavor?
I'm going to say, from how long you've known this old man and your recent experience with him, you're not sure his taste buds work. You think he might have burned them away with mead. But he seems happy with it. He likes the texture. Oh, thank you, Jillian. That's very kind of you. Drinks it, and you can immediately see He's got a very similar pep in his step to Coca-Cola once she's woken up and gotten moving. And he goes outside to go start collecting honey from the apiary. Coca-Cola, you are finally now abandoned by your bedmate.
Yep, that's usually how it goes. At least I didn't have to chew my arm off this time. But she'll get up.
This is how we learned Coca-Cola has a prosthetic arm.
She'll get up and she did not change out of her clothes or anything last night. She did kick her boots off, but she still kind of got soot smeared on her forehead, and her tool belt and things are on, whatever. And first thing she's going to do is reach to her tool belt and feel if her Tinker's tools pouch is still heavy. And then when she realizes it's still there, she's like, okay, it wasn't the. So she'll get up and clean herself up, get her face washed up with a little bowl and basin or whatever that there is. And she'll put on the nicest outfit she has in her traveling clothes, because she knows, obviously they're going to meet the mayor. So she'll put on what essentially would be her Kundarak formal wear, minus, the Kundarak jacket. She's got her just regular nice leather jacket that has the patch that her grandpa gave her sewn into it. So she'll get dressed up decently well. And her jacket kind of hides her tool belt, so it doesn't look completely obvious. Some extra little pockets in there, because why wouldn't there be extra pockets? And she'll, tuck some things off, so she doesn't look like she's carrying a whole lot, but it's well concealed.
Okay.
And she'll join her friends at the table for a light breakfast, if they're going to eat a light breakfast, since they are meant to meet the mayor for breakfast, I believe.
Yep.
So nothing too big. Breakfast beer, of course, have to have it to start the day, else she can't function. And so last night, when everybody went to bed, I went outside for a little bit, and I almost died, but I didn't. I'm still here, thankfully. But she'll reach in her pocket, in her pouch, and pull out the dragon shard and say,
and
I found this.
As you pull out the dragon shard, the front door of the house does burst open as your grandfather comes back in from checking the apiary.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
And as you say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, he looks right at you. Coca-Cola? You went out and did something with the stone stack last night then?
Yes. So I went outside after everybody went to bed. I've just been feeling this real raw sense of connection since being here. Obviously, it's much different than being around the Kundarak side of the family where they're all business. And I just decided to pay some homage to our heritage. And so I did after I cleaned up. And after I did, this fell from the sky.
All right, let me go ahead and give Grandpa a knowledge check on that rock.
I was going to say, I assume Zenlin, having what I think is a Kyber dragon shard, recognizes this as another dragon shard, yeah?
Yeah, and then you can give me either knowledge, history, or arcana check to try to learn more.
No, I mean, it's a 10, but as long as I know it's a dragon shard and I'm not confused about what it is, I'm good.
You know it's a dragon shard. And that's all your grandfather recognizes it as well as. So you went out to speak to the ancestors and a shard fell from the sky.
Yeah, at the very end of the blessing, it hit the ground I made sure that it didn't affect any of the hives in the apiary, and I'm really sorry about it tearing up the grass. I promise I'll fix it after the meeting today.
Wait, are you talking about the
Well,
What blessing? I didn't see a blessing. I saw a done
Crater.
smoldering ring of crater in the ground. I didn't see a blessing.
Oh, I mean, I thought it was just normal dwarvish culture, but there was definitely like a ring with writing. Some of it was in giant. It was like a blessing of protection and good favor or something.
Yeah, your grandfather looks at you. You need to come look at this, Coca-Cola.
Oh, damn it. Okay. I'll go. I just cleaned my boots, but I'll go.
All right. So you go outside and you see this circle filled with writing. And you see that the dirt where the crater was has filled itself back in and hardened a little. It's not quite stone, but it is packed earth with this raised writing on top of it, also in packed earth.
Well, I don't read giant, but I do read dwarvish.
As you look at this, you feel something thrum within you and in your hand where you're holding the shard, and find that you're able to read the giant very clearly, as well as the dwarven. You see the message of protection, blessing, and ill will to those who come with it. And then in the center, in the dwarven runes, which, as you look at them, aren't quite right. Like, the letters are misformed or out of place. The words shouldn't make sense. But to you, as you gaze at it, you see that it says, "A lost child returns to the caves, found in the mountains, and a lost child returns to the caves. She was found in the mountains, and given a blessing of stone from the sky. May she watch over us as we watch over her."
Yeah, so I'll read it out loud. And then I'll kind of like rub my head a little because when I was dreaming about a place with caves and a river. And man, I gotta stop drinking so much. I feel blasphemic for saying it, but this is all hurting my damn head. And it's not a hangover before you ask, she'll say.
Yeah, Jolly's the one passed out with a hangover.
Yeah. Good on you, Jolly. Sleeping through a business meeting, you face card, you.
But
What
yeah,
does this mean, Grandpa?
I can't read it.
Well, I'll read it to him and then say, well, do you know anything about any of... I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Well, when we die, according to the old traditions, our souls return to the stone from whence they were carved. So perhaps that is the cave it speaks of, a cave of souls.
When he says when we die you return, I'm gonna panic, start feeling myself, and I will pinch my own self.
You're alive.
Just to make sure I'm still alive. Well, I had to check.
But when you go to pinch yourself, it's a little hard to get a grip. You know, your fingers are...
Sounds about right.
You notice that your skin isn't as like loose on your musculature anymore. It is firm and taut around it, almost as if there's, like, you know how you can pinch a bag until you overfill it and it's just completely pulled taut, like that. Yeah.
Well, as dapper as I may appear, I am still alive at least. I'm gonna flex my muscles, just feel them a little bit. I'm pretty excited about them. I'm not a strong Goral. I'm
Yeah,
more
you flex a little, you feel your muscles. You don't feel any stronger, and then you go to squeeze your muscle and you squeeze a little too hard. You can feel the bones within. You know how normally if you like squeeze your arm enough that you can feel your bones, it hurts a little.
yeah.
Yeah, your bones
Yeah.
don't
All
hurt.
right.
Your
Oh,
bones don't hurt. They feel very hard.
ooh. Yeah. All right. Well, that hurts my skin a little bit, but oh, this is
Congratulations, your bones are made of stone.
congratulations to me. Ha! No breaking my bones. What did they used to tell us when we were little? Warthogs, Jillian, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, guess what? My bones are made of stones, so even then, you ain't breaking them. Maybe. I don't know. Let's don't test it out. Just let me revel in this this newfound fortitude. Can burst my bubble tomorrow, but today is not the day.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a nice day out too. The sun is shining. The bees are humming. The birds are singing. Buzzing, not humming. That's what bees do.
I mean, they might hum if you like the tune of their buzzes. Maybe that's how they
It's fair.
communicate. They change their buzz pattern and it sounds like a humming.
No, they do. They moonwalk at each other to communicate.
You know what?
Yeah. Did you not know this? Bees dance to communicate.
I didn't know. But Coca-Cola knows, but Wooly doesn't.
Yeah, fun fact. Yeah, bees dance to communicate with each other.
Is this where you teach me about the birds and the bees, Chip?
Hummingbirds have legs, even though a lot of people don't believe they do, and they can stop flying and without their heart stopping, contrary to popular belief.
So yes, it's where you teach me about the birds and the bees. Yep. Exactly.
Yep, and that's where babies come from.
Moonwalking bumblebees and heart-pounding hummingbirds. I dig it.
All right. But yeah, it's a nice day. And the world around you, for the most part, doesn't seem to have changed. But yeah, what do you think Coca-Cola's next move is after reading this and finding out that your grandfather's wild guess is a cave of souls?
Well, it is a wild guess. And I know like everybody's all about the sovereign guy or girl or individual, she, he, they, whoever they may be. I know that's everybody's cup of tea, but I don't really subscribe to that YouTube channel. So I'm kind of like, I'm not really sure how she's not really processing it all probably at the level she should be, because it's a lot going on, right? It's like all she wanted to do was just go out and have a moment that she thought was going to be, a one and done peaceful offering. But this ground writing in a language that she shouldn't be able to make sense of makes sense. And she doesn't even speak that one. And now she can read it and nobody else knows what the fuck is going on. It's sus. It's all sus.
Yeah. As you begin to grow suspicious of this marking and shard, you feel your pouch get a little heavier.
Oh, please make sure my bell still dings Santa Claus, I believe.
It gets a little lighter, goes back.
Okay, good. All right. Well, okay. So I believe in the sovereign community.
No, it's not the sovereign host it was responding to. It was the doubt in the stone's intentions.
Okay, well, I don't doubt you anymore. My goodness. I'm
not-
gonna put my
yeah.
precious back in my bag. Make sure it's in my bag.
Yeah.
I'll do a very Bilbo pocket pat just to make sure it's where I left it.
I will say everyone who wants to can make me a perception check. You're looking to hit over a 20. The higher the better. You'll get more information the higher you go, but you need a 20 to get anything. And feel free to roll your own dice if you want.
Leave it to you, Reznor.
Reznor failed.
Reznor failed.
Yeah, but he's closer. What do you got, Julian?
Jillian got 21.
All right. Jillian, you spot something different from all the times you've been here before. There's a little crack in the top stone of this stack. Just a little one, right in the middle of it. Not even enough to spread the whole length or width of it, but there's just a little crack right in the center. About an inch long.
About an inch long. Yeah. All right. Jillian would say, "Hey, Coca-Cola, has this? I don't think this has been here before," and she'll draw Coca-Cola's attention to it.
Oh man! Look, Gramps, I'm sorry I cracked your stone. I really wasn't. I was not being irresponsible. I did everything the way that you showed me when we were younger. I'm sorry I broke your stone.
I believe you, Coca-Cola, and I don't blame you. It's okay.
What does it mean?
Well, we should probably get to our meeting with the mayor, huh?
Yes, we should.
Just the least slick avoidance. He is literally stone-faced right now.
But for real, before we go, what does this mean? What does this crack in this rock mean? Does it mean I need to get you a new one? I'll pick you the shiniest, roundest, smoothest little skipping stone I could find.
It's fine, Coca-Cola. That's the stone that I was blessed with when I made my prayer upon my ascension to Clan Head.
Well, what does it mean? Was your dad's broke?
What was that?
Was your dad's broke before you put yours on?
There was a crack in it, yes.
And what did your dad say about his crack?
That it wasn't my fault.
But then what did he say?
That it wasn't my fault. That's it, Coca-Cola.
I feel like this is a conversation we should have later, since we're supposed to go meet with the mayor.
I would be happy to talk with you about how you're feeling right now later.
I'm just going to give him this look like you did not just talk to me the way my dad talks to me, because that's something that he would say to me when I'm getting irritated with my mom at the middle of a big business dinner and I'm starting to raise my voice a little bit. And then my dad always puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "I would be happy to discuss the way that you're feeling at a different time, Coca-Cola."
He sees that look and looks at you. You look so much like your father right now, Coca-Cola. I'm very proud of you.
I feel like you're pulling my leg, and it's not a very long leg to pull.
I promise.
But all right.
I promise you this. You'll understand in time. And I will explain everything I can as soon as I can.
I feel like I'm back in that class where they made me click the little beads across the wooden boards and count it weird on my fingers and stuff. They said, "You'll understand it eventually. Let me promise you something. I never understood abacus math."
It's okay, I didn't either. And my generation invented it.
Fair point. Are you guys ready to go see the mayor?
Yes.
I think I have enough notes in my pocket on Jolly's business proposition, but I don't know if I necessarily feel comfortable stepping into his sales pitch place. But I'll do my
I mean,
best.
we don't really need to make a sales pitch right away. We've got jobs, right? We don't need to rush into anything.
No, but we do need things like permission to buy the fucking building, right? Didn't you say that we had to get permission to buy it in the first place?
Well, no. I mean, we could have bought it from his clerks, but they want an outrageous price for a building that is collapsing on itself. So we wanted to talk to the mayor and maybe bring out a assessor, I believe it was, from the major city or the big houses.
Yeah.
Hey, Grandpa, while we're walking down to the mayor's house, what do you know about that fallen tower that's there across the river from the meadery? Because we're looking at purchasing some real estate, and that's one of the open options. But I think Zenlin and Reznor and Jolly had said that it was quite often the target of wyvern attacks, but they still want quite a bit of money for it. What's up with that?
Oh, Cornerstone Tower? Yes, as the name says, it used to be the cornerstone of the old guard walls. Yes, it's always been the target of wyvern attacks as far back as I can remember, even back when the walls stood. But back then, the wyverns we have around here are back in my day, they were a domestic population. Some of the, what's the word you're using for them now? We used to call them monstrous races back in my day. The ones that live around in the mountains, the orcs and the goblins and those. They used to send the wyverns against the tower. A party was sent out to raid their camp, and when it fell, they scattered and they left the eggs behind. And now we have a wild wyvern problem.
Oh, that's the opposite of Jolly. Okay, well, I'll add that to my little notes here while we walk along. Feel free to converse amongst yourselves. Don't let me stop you.
You wouldn't happen to know where that goblin camp was, would you?
Oh, it was. I think the goblins mostly stayed in the caves of the mountains. All the ones around here have been cleared out and they get checked every couple of years, but I think the camp itself, their fortifications, were about a day and a half's travel north on horseback.
Just so I'm understanding this correctly, there are caves in the mountains around here, and you thought your first thought was a cave of souls?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's an old tradition, older than my grandfather. The idea of a cave of souls. It's a place where you can go to speak to your ancestors more directly. Unfortunately, no one really knows where most of them are. We've never found the Iron Gut Cave. I spent quite a few of my adventuring years looking for it, and I can tell you it's nowhere around here. And according to my ancestors' notes, it's nowhere in Corvair.
Interesting. Are your ancestors not traditionally from Riven?
We've been here for about 800 years now. But going further back, no, we've got family from the southern side of the continent primarily. There's a rumor that I heard towards the end of my years traveling that is honestly the one that put me off going around looking for it. That our family line actually originates in the southern continents, down in Centric.
Interesting. Why would that put you off? Just too long of a journey?
Too long of a journey, too dangerous of a locale, and none of my companions wished to travel there with me. So, with someone like you there, it might be, a little bit of a native guide. It might be more reasonable. He leans over towards you. He's been having this kind of conversation with you in quiet, kind of hushed tones while Kokola's writing.
Yeah.
I don't want to pressure her to pick up the torch I laid down, but if Kokola did decide to seek our ancestral cave, a native guide might do her well. And I've got a bit of saving. I'd be more than happy to help compensate you and your friends if that's the path you choose to take.
I will note that, sir.
But don't you go bringing it up to her. This is a journey a dwarf has to come to on their own.
I wouldn't dream of it.
All right. And you, after about 15 minutes of walking, you arrive at the edge of a very well-kept property. It's the size of a major farm, and it looks more like the only product of sorts that could be being raised here is fruit. There are all sorts of fruit trees growing around, as well as decorative flowers and bushes. As you walk through, Jillian, you are probably the first noticed that these trees are currently ripe with fresh fruit, way out of season.
Jillian will take note, and she won't say anything to anyone about it. Just kind of, she is curious about it, but she's focused on meeting with the mayor.
Yeah, anyone else can just make a DC 10 nature check to catch on to that same thing.
Zenlin got an 11.
11?
I got a 21.
21? Yep, you all catch on that these trees are definitely fruiting out of season.
Hey, Grandpa, is the mayor or maybe the mayor's wife like a gardener or something?
Oh yes, he's quite the gardener. It's actually how we got to chatting. My bees kept flying over when they were set out to go and pollinate and gather nectar into his garden. And one day he followed them back to see where they were coming from. I think he might have been thinking of having an apiary himself, and saw that they were already owned. And ever since, he's been coming over to help me out with the bees, just as my bees help out with his trees.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I'll tuck that tidbit of information into my pocket.
But you make your way through the property, up a path, up to a honestly pretty humble little cottage. It's a little bigger than your grandpa's house, but it's not massive. It looks like it's probably got 5 or 6 rooms.
Yeah, and they weren't the ones that lived here when I used to come when I was a kid, right? Was it somebody else?
This is a new house. This used to just be empty land.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, it wasn't. They didn't either. If there was a house that it wasn't occupied by them previously, or it's newly built.
Yeah, newly built.
Yeah, this is fairly nice. He's got a nice little house here.
Not what you expect from the mountainsides by Revan, huh? It's quite nice actually to have a bit of change, you know. We kept rebuilding and rebuilding, and we always built the same house over and over again. But with Mayor Brightfoot's new initiatives, there's becoming more and more diversity in the architecture of the town.
I mean, some change isn't bad, but why fix what isn't broken?
Well,
It's just a waste of resources.
well, that's the point. Things kept being broken, and we kept building them back the same way.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some change is good. So, like, I can get behind more modern architecture and things that more withstand, you know, things of the area that might be potentially dangerous to building structure, be it lightning strikes, meteors, once domesticated wyverns.
You know, he actually offered to build up the family homestead for me, but you know, I agree. There's only some things that need changed.
I wouldn't change anything about the family homestead, except for maybe, yeah, nothing.
Well, now that I have a bit more company, I'm thinking it might be nice to build on, like, an extra couple of rooms. You know?
Well, I mean, an expansion wouldn't be terrible, but it would still look similar, right?
Yes, we keep the same style.
Okay, good.
But, you know, Stone talks, the age wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't have been there as long. You'd still be able to tell what the new was, I'm sure.
Surely so.
No rush for the though, you know? No rush. Well, we're here. And he goes to knock on the door. Anything else you all need to do before we head in for our meeting?
I'm going to straighten my jacket, adjust the tie I'm not wearing, get the dust off my pants.
Does anybody have any, out of character, does anybody have any buff spells they want to cast on themselves for this conversation? Any, like, guidances or enhance abilities or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
Not Zenlin's forte.
Question. Is a detect thought spell against somebody considered an attack or a harmful spell?
It is not.
Okay. I will cast one spell before we go inside. I will do it out of view of my grandfather. I will make a small hand sigil of warding behind him, but I would like to cast Sanctuary on him just in case anything crazy happens.
Wonderful. Yeah, you cast Sanctuary on your grandfather, and he is protected. And as you cast it, you see some of the giant writing that you saw earlier flow over his shoulders. Only you can see this. It is you seeing the effects of your magic, marking him as home.
Perfect. I will be doing that. Just in case we're capable, but he's getting old, so I want to make sure he's protected. Jillian, are you casting Enhance Ability?
I was gonna cast. I was actually thinking Guidance, but yeah, I do have that other spell. But I was thinking that maybe if who's gonna be doing the talking? Would it be you or would it be not Zenlin?
Probably me.
Yeah, I'd say Cola with the family connection or Zenlin are probably your best bets with Zenlin's charisma. Is what you guys would know.
Yeah, but we've established Zenlin has the type of charisma that you just can't look away from, not because they're like daring and dapper, but because you're trying to figure out exactly what it is you're looking at.
Fair enough.
You know what? I could do the Enhance Ability because that will last for an hour.
And
Okay.
I will say, if you upcast it, you can give it to multiple people. Like if you cast it as a 4th level spell, you could hit 3 people with it.
All right, yeah, I'll do that because I'm just not really good at talking to people. So it's just it'd be best if I don't talk to anyone at all. And yeah, I'll cast Enhance Ability and I'll give it to everyone except myself.
All right. So Cola, Reznor, and Zenlin, you all have advantage on charisma checks for the next hour.
Perfect. Helpful.
All right. And your grandfather knocks on the door. And it swings open almost immediately. You see a small little gnomish man whose face Reznor and Zenlin have seen before on the posters outside his office, smiling up at you. He's short, maybe just about 4 inches shorter than Jillian. A mop of blonde hair, and a little, almost like a tricorn hat perched on his head off to an angle. Oh, pleasure to see you again, and a pleasure to meet all of you. Come in. And he moves back from the door and moves over to a room that looks like a dining room.
Okay.
We'll follow.
Yeah, I figure it'll probably be grandfather first, then Coca-Cola, then Jillian, then Zenlin, then Reznor. Does that make
All right.
sense?
Yeah.
Because
So
Reznor
you
watching our backs is the best decision we could ever make.
So you all file in to the mayor's home and all head over to the dining room. There's a long table in here with seats of varying sizes. You see that the mayor immediately sits himself down in one of them at the head of the table that is essentially a child's high chair without the bars to keep them in. And each of you can find a chair either at the table or stacked along the edges of the room that will suit you.
I'll pull a chair out for my grandpa so he don't have to do it.
Yeah, you pull the chair out and he sits. Thank you, dear.
And I'll scoot it back and I'll take my place.
Our food should be along in just a moment. But before we eat, I'd love to introduce myself to all of you. I am Mayor Leon Brightfoot. I've been serving here for about, 3, 4 years now, somewhere in there. And I'm very hopeful to win a second term. And you? And he points to you, Coca-Cola.
I am Coca-Cola Iron Gut. Nice to meet you. And I'll give him a good, firm handshake.
All right. Pleasure to meet you, Coca-Cola. Oh, handshake like your grandfather's, huh? As he sort of rolls his wrist after the handshake. And you, my dear, pointing to Jillian.
I introduce myself and I tell him that I am Jillian Rilke and I offer my hand and I give him a handshake.
Pleasure to meet you. Jillian, do you wear any symbols of your house?
I do have a signet ring, and she is in her fine garb, and she's wearing the signet ring.
All right, cool. All right, he does not notice. And you, my friend, pointing at Zenlin.
Zenlin Draro, at your service, sir.
And I am at yours. And of course, we cannot forget you. Points at Reznor.
Reznor Greyback. And I'll do a smile and a big thumbs up.
He gives you a smile back and gives you 2 thumbs up. Leon Brightfoot. And of course, here's my lovely wife. As a door opens off to the side, you can smell and hear the sounds of a kitchen. And a human woman about 5'10" walks in. Blonde hair, big smile on her face. She's wearing an apron over a set of chainmail armor. This is Prudence. And Prudence, this is Coca-Cola, Jillian, Zenlin, and Reznor. Hi, nice to meet you.
I'll get up and if is she carrying out dishes from breakfast or anything of the sort? Like is she bringing food in?
It looks like she was about to poke her head in to give like an update on how the food's going.
Miss Prudence, would you need any assistance with anything?
Oh, well, you're our guests. I don't want you to put yourself out, but thank you.
Pish posh, I can help carry things.
Oh, well, then certainly. Come along. The food will be ready in about 5 minutes. So if you I could have you keep an eye on a couple of things for me and let me know if they're ready or if they're starting to burn. And then you can help me carry it in.
Yeah, 5 minutes away shouldn't be too much. Yeah, by all means. And I'll get up and push my chair in neatly. And by the way, thank you for your hospitality and hosting us here in your home. It's very lovely.
Oh, gladly. We don't get to host as much as we'd like. You know, your grandfather comes over for dinner once a week, but I think people are intimidated by my husband being the mayor. I keep sending out invites for a dinner party, and no one ever comes.
Well, maybe you just need more colorful invites. What are you using? 5-weight, parchment, typical beige color. Maybe switch up to like a 10-weight cardstock with some gold foiling on the end.
Oh, you think paper invitations would work better? I haven't tried that yet. I've been sending fruit baskets with the date written in flowers.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, maybe they just don't know what the date means. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe adding a nice little card to your fruit basket. The fruit basket's a lovely idea for an invitation, but maybe adding some words to a piece of paper to explain what the date in the flowers in the fruit basket means.
You know, I really feel like I should have thought of that, but I'm grateful that you thought of it for me. So do you have
Well,
much experience in kitchens?
I have a lot of experience in kitchens that brew mead.
All right. I just need you to watch these eggs. And she points at a pan on a stove. It is the only pan on this stove. And you see when you walk into the kitchen, there's already a platter of like fresh baked bread rolls. There's a fruit platter with freshly picked and cut fruit. There's a tray of like different meats. There's sausages. There's bacon.
Yeah.
And you see that she goes over to a second stove where there are more eggs cooking. What looks like a sauce of some sort reducing, and she is actively making pancakes. You just keep
What
an
kind
eye
of
on.
egg does she be watching? Does she got me on scramble egg duty, or am I meant to sunny side these up? Because if I am meant to side them, they're going to be scrambled anyways.
It is a single pan of what looks like scrambled egg whites.
Oh yeah, that's easy.
One serving.
Yeah, I get a wooden spatula, and I'm assuming there's one near there from what she's been stirring it with, and I stir it about.
Cool. Does Coca-Cola cook with her heart, her knowledge, her common sense, or is she just constantly moving the eggs?
I feel like she's not completely kitchen ignorant. Mr. Mom, her dad, did show her how to do like tomato soup and grilled cheese, scrambled eggs and toast.
He taught her the dorm room essentials, basically.
Yeah. So she knows how to cook some scrambled eggs, and she knows how to add seasonings if they need and whatnot. But she doesn't know about people in this house's cholesterol, so she doesn't add anything to it. She just makes the eggs because she doesn't want to
Cool. Just give
anybody dill poisoning or jack their blood pressure.
You're just gonna give me a chef's tools check using, we'll say, intelligence, since this is from what Coca-Cola's been taught.
Okay. I don't have chef's tools or proficiency with that, but I can make you a flat intelligence.
Yep, that's all it'll be.
All right, 17.
You know what? These are some damn good egg whites. You pull them off the burner at just the right time before they get rubbery or overcooked. And she sees you pull them. You can just put those.
Where are we putting those? I lost you, Chip. Oh, yeah. So she'll just put those wherever the nice lady told her to put them. And assuming it's probably a dish on a tray or something along the lines. And Chip didn't abandon any of you if you thought he went to get milk and wasn't coming back. He just actually went to get milk, and he will be back once he gets his mic situation figured out, because headsets suck. Technology is a jerk. And that's why we play medieval D&D. Suspenseful egg making stop. That's right.
Can you imagine if you were actually in someone's kitchen cooking eggs and they were like, you can just put those over, and you're just stuck there holding the frying pan?
Yeah, they just cut off mid-sentence. I mean, I already feel a tad uncomfortable with her in the kitchen because she's a human woman and I am a dwarven young adult. Like, I'm not very old in dwarven society. Like, I'm an adult, but so she's like much taller than me, and she didn't sound like she was too what's the word I'm looking for? Confident in my cooking abilities. But hey, I slayed this egg white. That I definitely put in the place that she told me to put it. Are you back, Chip?
Funny enough, Bush is making bacon and eggs upstairs, so I smell eggs right now.
Tell Bush, make me an extra plate. I like my eggs scrambled. I like my bacon crispy but still pliable, and sausage gravy on the side to put over
All right,
my eggs.
testing.
Well, welcome back.
All right, and yeah, you're right. You absolutely slayed those eggs. She sees you pull them off the stove, motions to an empty bowl sitting on the kitchen. You can just put those in there. And do you know how your grandfather takes his with the salt and pepper?
Yeah, the little salt and a little pepper and a little bit of mountain paprika.
Yes, yes. The seasonings should be on that back shelf there, since you know, and those are for him. We're trying to get his cholesterol down. That's why we've got him eating only egg whites instead of the yolks.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yes, it's very nice that some of his family has finally started coming around. He's been quite lonely these past few years, and from the gossip about town, I've heard you finally got him to stop eating those ration bars.
Yes. I've been away doing work and things and such in Sharn. That's where I grew up. And now that I'm back around here, I wasn't really aware. Word hadn't traveled to us, and if it had, my mother decided she didn't want to pass it down because she's a you know what I want you to know sort of person. But anyway, I didn't know my gran had gone about her merry way, so I probably would have come sooner had I known, but work has kept me away. I'm glad he's not eating those ration bars anymore. We actually had some really good stew last night and a little light breakfast this morning in case anybody needed it. And yeah, things are all right. He seems to be happy and in good spirits, which that's what's important to me.
He seems moving around a little better now that you're back. Your grandfather's a very important person to me, and I'm glad that you're around to help him.
He's very important to me as well. So it's nice to know that there are good folks watching his back when I can't be around.
Yes. It's good to know that there's to fall back on if you're not available.
Well, I mean, he'll be falling back on me more regularly. I've got my hands in the brewery now, and my friends and I will be in town for quite a bit. We're all staying with him, so we're just right up the road if you need help with anything.
You're working at the brewery now. How wonderful! So you've met my cousin and the manager?
Oh yes, lovely gent. Nice to know he's your cousin.
Yes. It's through my mother's side, and it's a growing relationship. He does very good work, and from the profit numbers, it seems like it's right.
Yeah, well, I from my understanding, it's in his best interest to stay profitable. But him being your cousin makes sense at the quite nice employment package he was provided by the city.
Oh yes, we wanted to make sure he'd be taken care of if he did well, but
Yeah, I'm
Felt
glad that you
business
wanted to
clause
make
in
sure
there.
he was taken care of. You know, my
Yeah,
cousin, she's going to be working pretty closely with him. I actually got her a better job than, advertising mead in a place where the meadery has been a very long time.
Yes, that certainly was one of Leon's more interesting directives.
Oh, yeah, well, a little bit of change is nice. So she'll be up in the office with your cousin fairly regularly.
Well, get along just fine. I know there was a bit of workplace conflict between the members of your family who were here and when we started running things. So hopefully now she'll be able to see, working more closely with him, that it's just the city, the company, and your family.
You just have to understand the meadery's been in the Iron Gut family a very, 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 very long, very, very long time. So it's kind of like in our DNA to kind of want to keep it moving. And we've never really let other people be in charge of it. So it's a big step for a lot of people. It actually was quite to my surprise to find out somebody else was running the meadery.
Yes, well, I think that a bit of change is just what this town needs. Profits have gone up by 25% since we installed our manager.
That's fantastic. Hopefully he keeps those profits up.
I truly believe he will. Well, the food's over now. Would you mind giving me the bread basket and the meat tray?
I'm gonna pretend that Warforged Chip just asked me to help carry stuff out to the table. You roboted on me really hard, buddy.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yep. I'll pick up whatever trays there are to carry out and help carry them.
All right. So yeah, she has the bread basket and the tray of meats, and you see she stacks the other 5 things along her arms, sort of half hugging, half carrying them, and brings them all in. She the door open with her foot. Food's ready, and we're actually going to cut back a little and move to what everyone else was doing while they waited on food. So Coca-Cola leaves the room with Prudence, and Jillian, Resnor, and Zenvin, you are left in here with Gramps and the mayor. Well, that's quite nice of your friend to go and help Prudence out with that. I'm sure she appreciates it, and I know I do.
Oh, yes,
Coca-Cola is a hell of a granddaughter.
She's quite helpful when she wants to be.
Yes.
Or when she can be, rather.
So you're in town on business, eh?
I mean, maybe we were kind of looking around, just traveling the countryside, and we, once we realized that Coca-Cola had family here, we were thinking of maybe staying around for a little while. Which would obviously mean we need work or income of some kind.
Well, I know there's some opportunities at the brewery for dock workers and loaders. Then if you're, from what I've heard, you're quite the hunters, at least some of you. So if you wanted to narrow down our wyvern problem a bit, that's good pay. And I'm sure you could open a stall at that market I had opened up.
I think we were hoping for something a little more permanent than market. In fact, we looked at some properties a little bit. What can you tell me about the tower across the river?
Oh, well, it's about 5,000 platinum. And you'll need to repair it if you take ownership.
I'm sorry.
That might have been a GM issue. I might have remembered the number wrong. Let me check.
I was like, I thought the other people said like 40.
Oh no, it definitely wasn't 40,000 platinum.
No, like 40 platinum.
Okay.
Jolly probably has it in his notes.
Yeah. It was 40 platinum. That's on me. I went, all right, it was 5,000 something, right? When it was to 400 gold. But yeah, 40 platinum.
Yeah, it seems a bit steep for a building that's in such a poor state.
Well, you have to consider the land is a prime parcel. You know, that could be turned into a shipping industry very quickly if you remove the tower. Right there and all. I'm right in the center of town.
That seems like it would be a benefit for the town to me.
You know, one person in town doing well, we want that to trickle down to everybody else. It seems like the most benefit would come to the company that now has a monopoly on shipping down the river.
Yes, the river. It's just, I mean, we did do some estimates and talk to some people. I think they said it was probably going to be another 20 or 40 platinum just to fix it up to serviceable levels.
Which is why you're getting it at such a good price.
I don't know, sir. It seems quite steep for a place that, by all accounts, is something of a wyvern magnet.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. And I'll say I normally would have granted you advantage on this for mentioning that it's a wyvern magnet. You do have Eagle Splendor, so we don't double up advantage. You can add 5 to your roll.
So that makes it a 27.
Well, you know, maybe we could talk about the price a little more, but the big issue is our prices are set by the kingdom. And if I sell for under that price, the city has to make up the difference.
Well, I'm sure I'm not the person with all of the finances. Our financial advisor actually was feeling a bit under the weather today. But I agree, perhaps we can talk about that when he's available. He understands those numbers much better than I do.
Yes. And, you know, I know it's in a bit of disrepair, but, you know, that is the price that we were given before, you know, 3 more years of wyvern attacks. So perhaps if you wanted to wait for the assessor to come back next year, you could get it for cheaper.
It's possible. Like I said, I think I'm not really the one suited for those business conversations. I'm not really, I don't understand all of the rules and codes that you guys have over here.
Hey,
it's-
Chipper.
Yep.
Jillian's doing an insight check on the mayor as he's sort of talking to Zenlin about prices being set by the kingdom and so on and so forth. 17 plus 7 she got.
He seems like he's being honest and honestly a little apologetic about it in his tone.
Genuinely good guy.
I call bullshit. He stinks like a pile of manure from a mile away. You could wrap a turd in gold, but it's still a turd. But I'm in the kitchen, so I have no idea what's going on.
Yes, I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't honestly been up close yet. All we've seen is the gaping hole in the roof. So maybe if we get a little closer look, maybe it'll look better than it does from afar.
I can authorize you going through an own inspection.
Oh, that would be lovely. I mean, we wouldn't want to bother you or the assessor if it wasn't worth our time.
Yes, well, I'd have to send someone through first to see what it looked like themselves. But then I could, that way, we can't risk people going in and doing their own damages and then claiming that against the assessor. But yes.
Oh, I mean, we'd be more than happy to have someone go with us.
Oh, an escort? Yes, I could send an escort, certainly. Let me give me a moment to think about how much the day's pay would be and who I would have to send. I don't think either of the secretarial workers at the office would be suited for it, but there's a few people in town that I could trust with the job. In fact, my office works quite closely with one of the local hunters. Perhaps I could send him along with you.
I mean, if that's what you think is best, I don't know what a hunter knows about foundations and stability.
Well, if he's with you, he doesn't need to know anything about it. He just needs to see that you aren't harming it.
I mean, I guess that's fair. I can't really argue with that. Just seems an odd choice.
Honestly, I don't get much work in the mayor's office that isn't paperwork. So, as far as people to send into an old crumbling building with a band of, I'll be frank, right now you're all mercenaries in my eyes. I don't want to send one of my office workers with you.
So instead, you'd send a random citizen that has no direct ties to you so that if something happens, nothing bad can happen to you.
No, a citizen who I've worked closely with and know has great strength of arm. The man kills a wyvern every 3 days.
It's odd I didn't know the attacks were that frequent.
Oh, they're not. He goes up the mountain hunting for them.
Curious.
Yes, maybe you've met him, Furthic?
Looks at
You've heard his name
Resnor,
mentioned, but
Jillian.
not met him.
Oh yeah. I'm just putting on as much of a show as I can. I don't think I know him. Don't think I've had the pleasure.
Well, you can find him down at his cabin just south of town. He's there if he's not out on. Though you might want to wait a couple of days. He usually turns in a heart on the weekends, and then spends the first couple of days of the week at home.
Good to know.
And Cole, this is about when you guys come back in from the kitchen.
Yeah, I'll bring in whatever it is that she asked me to carry and set it down on the table and such. And I'm gonna see if I can get a vibe check from one of my buddies to kind of let me know how the conversation has been while I was off in the kitchen.
Give me an insight at advantage, since
Insight
you're trying to check on your buddies.
Yeah, I actually probably am mostly wanting to vibe check Zenlin just because he's usually the most talkative out of the party that's there. Jillian's pretty socially awkward and keeps to herself, and Reznor is Reznor.
Go ahead.
So
I'll say on a 10, you pick up the general like emotional vibe. 15, you'll pick up a little more, and on a 20, you pretty much know what happened in this room.
Yep. Well, I'm really distracted about Nepo Baby and Golden Contract being running my family's brewery right now. So I got only a 9.
Right. So on a 9, you can tell there's been some conversation, and you can tell there's some difference in opinions in that conversation. You have nobody heated or anything that you're picking up.
Okay. I'm just kind of just want to know what was happening before I come back in the room, so to speak.
I'll say you pick up the vibe that you interrupted unintentionally some sort of like serious topic.
Okay. That's good. Probably glad I wasn't in the room to be called a mercenary, because that's offensive AF, because we haven't done any mercenary-like behavior, but okay.
Shoot, Zenlin aspires to be a soldier. Mercenary is like one step down. That's a compliment to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say mercenary just means you get paid to hit shit. And he's going off what your grandfather describes you as, and the fact that you've been going around saying that you're problem solvers around town.
Well, I mean, we are problem solvers. That makes us more like Sherlock Holmes and company.
You mean the people who get paid to work directly under the law enforcement agency and are allowed to do violence unto those who are committing crimes?
No.
You mean that group of mercenaries?
No, I mean more like a problem-solving group of individuals who violence doesn't have to be the first answer, but it's probably the second one. Not mercenaries. Come on.
Demi-mercenaries.
Oh, no, that just makes it sound like a wannabe mercenary, and that's even worse.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, you come back in, you get all the food set down, and we had a little bit of business discussion, and you're welcome, like I said, to go and take a look at the building, either after or with a guide.
After a guide, that sounds counterproductive.
He recommended a local hunter guide us. He just wants to make sure, we're not going in and destroying the walls ourselves. I think he said Fethric, was it?
Yes, Fethric. Stonefoot.
I've heard that name. I don't necessarily know if I feel comfortable with somebody going before us, because then they could go in and change some things to make it more visually appealing to us. So I think it'd be good to go together. We could schedule a day to go together. That would be just fine. That's a good bit of information that you're willing to let us view it.
Would you like me to have him meet you after the next time he comes in to turn in a heart? or would you like me to, just let you talk with him yourselves?
You could probably
Well,
send him.
you're going to have more contact with him, than we are. So, whatever you feel most comfortable with, Mayor Brightfoot.
And yes, I'll just talk to him next time he comes into the office, or have one of the desk workers do it.
Sure, that's a good idea. Hey guys, so I was talking to the lovely hostess when we were in the kitchen. Did you know the manager of the brewery is her cousin? Isn't that so nice? It's so nice, right? You're all muted if you're talking.
So nice.
Yeah, that's very lovely. That's very lovely. Hey, speaking of the brewery, hey, Mayor Brightfoot, I have this paper for you to approve. My darling, dearest cousin will be working in the office with your wife's lovely cousin, and you just have to sign off on her position to do so. He offered me the job, but she's way more familiar with the brewery, so I suggested that she do so.
Yes. Let me just take a look at the paperwork here, and he takes it from me, looks at it. There's just one small issue. Isn't she the one in charge of my outreach directive?
Oh, you mean the marketing in the town where the meadery has been for 519 years and everybody's very familiar with Iron Gut? Yeah, she's in charge of that, which she can continue to do so. Festivals. Hey, come by Iron Gut. She works at the tavern as it is. It's just, to me, seems like a little bit of a moot position. Just like a little bit of fluff, an unnecessary bit of fluff when she could be being paid to do something actually conducive to the environment of the meadery.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds like not a great idea to keep her there. Well, does anybody have a quill?
Oh, I absolutely do have a quill. And an ink pot.
Yeah, and he signs the paperwork. There you go.
Thank you. That's wonderful of you. I'm sure she'll be quite appreciative to know that Mayor Brightfoot of Revan views her skills to be more useful than where he's been applying them previously. Not that she grew up running around the meadery as a small dwarven child or, helped harvest the honey as a teenager or, learned the recipe from our grandfather while working in the brewery before it got taken over by anybody else. But, safety and security, she'll be good there.
All right. Well, yeah, I think you make a very good point. And yes, here you go. And he hands the paperwork back to you, freshly signed.
I'm going to blow on the ink to make sure it dries and doesn't smudge anything of the sort. It's my ink, so I know it's not disappearing, anything of the sort.
Nope, it's completely regular ink. I mean, it's your ink.
Yeah, that's why I said it's my ink, so I know it's not like disappearing ink.
Oh, I missed that bit. My bad.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very wonderful of you. Once the ink dries, I'll fold it up nicely and tuck it inside of my jacket, making sure when I open my jacket, I use a little panache, a little flair to make sure my very obvious heir to the Iron Gut Empire badge kind of shimmers in the natural light of this wonderful country cottage.
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you right now, above table, he saw it the second he opened it.
Oh, no doubt he did. No doubt he did.
But yes, was there anything else you all wanted to discuss during the meal, or was it just, potentially buying that property and, finding a job?
I think I'll have some more things to discuss with you probably later on, but right now I think it was just nice of us to get introduced to you. We've heard so very much about you, all wonderful things, of course. And it's nice to see the new mayor of Revan. It's always been the same couple of families, so it's just interesting to me, to have an outsider in place of government. And I'm really happy that you invited us into your home. Your wife, she's very lovely.
Give me an intimidation as the heir to one of those two families showing up out of the blue. And this would have been my job.
$18.
This man is literally shaking in his boots. You see, he goes to get a bite of the scrambled eggs, and his hand is shaking, and they fall off the fork.
He's the one who got the egg whites, right?
No, your grandfather got the egg whites.
Okay.
And he has anything this entire time. He's just been like looking back and forth between all of you, looking at Jillian and Resnor, especially like you're hearing, right? And then eating his eggs and a piece of bread.
I will make it a very valid point to everybody else at the table and the GM that Coca-Cola has not taken a single bite of food or drank a single thing at the table since arriving here.
Okay.
She'll push things around her plate to make it, look like it's been picked through or whatever, but she's not eating anything.
Cool. Yeah.
So, you were talking business before I came in. I assume the price of the tower has been discussed, no?
It has, yes.
Oh, wonderful.
40 platinum pieces.
Yeah, that just feels a little high, which I'm sure my associates had mentioned that feels a little high for something that we have to invest another 40 platinum into to fix. But it would be nice to maybe come to some sort of agreement or even a payment plan with a down payment.
Well, as I told your associates, the price is set by the kingdom of Zelago, not by me or any people here in the town of Revan. And it's if we accept a lower amount, then we have to pay out that amount to the kingdom, the difference. So it's not really a decision that I can make as mayor unless I know it's a good for the town.
Yeah, you need an appraiser to come out, by my understanding.
Yes, and perhaps we could work a deal out where I tell you what, why don't you price point you're comfortable with?
About half of that.
With
20
relationship.
Go ahead.
With the first relationship I have, I'd be willing to loan you 20 gold in exchange for either some sort of plan with a little bit of interest or partial ownership of the 20 platinum.
No. See, that's not going to work, but that's okay. We'll go and visit it with your friend, and then once we visit it with your friend and kind of get a look at what it is that we're buying into, if we even choose that property, because there's another property that was offered as well, but it's a little farther out of town than what we really wanted to be. I'll pay the appraiser to come in early, so we don't have to wait until next year, and we'll find out what he has to say about it, and we'll go from there.
Well, if you want to hire an appraiser to come out early, that's perfectly fine with me. I believe they're paid. Well, usually when they come and they assess all the buildings in town, and we pay them quite well. If you're having one come out just to assess a single building, that would probably only cost you 1 or 2 platinum.
Yeah, I actually have some connections back in Sharn. I have some affiliations with House Kundarak, and they happen to do some financial assessment. So I will reach out in that direction and have somebody come and take a look.
Oh, well, unfortunately, it does have to be as a Largo assessor, since, technically any unowned property is property of the king.
Oh, yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense. I just,
Yeah,
I'd
I
like
do
to...
believe that they have some Kundaraks in employ.
Huh?
I do believe they do have a couple of members of the Kundarak family in their employ.
Oh, yeah, probably so. But I'd like to, have it assessed before buying into it, because, I don't know, 40 platinum for a Wyvern magnet really just seems quite over the top.
I don't disagree with you, but as I said, it's out of my hands. We get an assessor here, and I'd be happy to go with whatever the new price they set is.
Yeah,
I'd be happy
that's
to
okay.
set you for 1 platinum if...
I don't believe that it all falls on to you, Mayor Brightfoot. After all, you've only been the mayor for just, 3 years now? I mean, it takes a full term of 4 years to change things, But it's been lovely meeting with you. I really appreciate you having this breakfast with us. I'm sure my grandfather is happy to have such a dear friend in his company again. Your wife mentioned how important he is to you, and that feels nice to know that people care about him for who he is, his genuine, decent personality. It's nice to know.
Oh, yes. Well, the very day I met your grandfather, I knew he was one of the kindest men I'd ever know. He was so careful with every one of those bees. Most people don't think about little beings like that, as though they're their own beings.
Well, when your bees are your livelihood, then you definitely tend to care for them more than you would not, of course.
But the care I see from your grandfather is beyond that. There are people who keep bees for their livelihood, and they care about the livelihood. You, and he turns to your grandfather, really seem to care about every individual being in those hives, and it's admirable. And your grandfather speaks up. He's a little more gruff sounding than usual. The best life they can have. Same as you and I.
Well, friends, we've come to do what we needed to do. Grandfather, feel free if you wish to stick around and spend some time with this lovely couple. But we do have a few things that we do attend to, so we'll make our way out.
So I'll walk you back to the house at least. I might come back afterwards, but I'll walk you over there. And you see
Oh no,
that
no
as
worries.
you're-
It's
Okay.
okay. It's okay. So you can stay. We got it.
Coca-Cola.
It's not too.
Coca-Cola, I want to walk with you.
Oh, okay. Yes, by all means, come walk with us, and I'll fling out my arm so he can take it.
That he says, just one moment, I'll take your arm as soon as we're on our way. And he lingers towards the back of the pack a little as you file out the. Anyone who wants to can make a perception check to try to hear what he says to the mayor on his way out.
Perception.
17.
17.
18.
Don't ask
All right. Below 15.
me. Below a 5, bruv. God. No.
Jillian. What,
Jillian's
are you
got-
making a perception check? What
Yeah,
was that?
she's got
14.
14. All right. So everyone, so Reznor and Zenlin, you both catch her grandfather speaking to the mayor, and you quietly mutter, I'm so sorry about my granddaughter and her friends. I thought this was going to be a pleasant meeting. I didn't think they were going to come in and, well, honestly, it seems like they're disparaging the way you've done business. And I didn't know she was feeling so proprietary about the meeting. You know, I let you take it over for a reason. But, you know, thank you for being kind and polite with them. And he sort of claps him on the shoulder and then catches up to you guys. And as you walk, he's pretty quiet at first. He does take your arm as soon as he's Cola. You get about 10 minutes into the walk, about 5 minutes away from the house, and he says, "You really embarrassed me back there."
I'm apologizing.
Do you think I can to make my own decisions, Cola?
It has nothing to do with
old?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It actually has nothing to do with your business at all, grandfather, because you ran it very well for, you know, however long you ran it, a long time, a lot of years. But when it comes to my business and my business investments of my friends, which is what we needed to meet with the mayor for anyways, was, you know, to talk about business. I'm pretty particular about the way our funds are managed. Jolly may be our financial advisor, but I am our financial advisor.
I have no issue with the way you spoke about purchasing the tower. I take issue with you telling the man how to run the meadery. He didn't approach me. He didn't ask for that. I asked him if the town would take it over.
And that's fine.
The mayor has run the meadery for years and years and years. And just because we have a mayor who isn't from our family doesn't mean that needs to stop.
And that's fine. He can run it all he wants. I just feel my cousin deserves better in a position when they were offering it to me and I just walked into the door. So having her advertise me that is already clearly advertised in the town sounded a little fluff to me, and I didn't like the way she was treated as a woman in business.
Then your cousin should have spoken up herself to the mayor. If she wants to get far in business, she'll need a thicker skin and a harder head.
Well, I think she was afraid of offending you, grandfather. And that's what I'm here for, apparently, to offend you with my care for the people in my family. But if they were offering the position to me and somebody else that is more familiar with the operations of the brewery is available to take it, I by all means think that she should.
Your grandfather goes silent on you, and he looks like he's thinking about what you said. He doesn't look like he's ignoring you.
That's fine. He can process it all he wants. I mean, I still have my stance regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I walked in the door and said, you're putting Iron Guts back in charge. I just said, if you're offering a position to me, that you should offer it to somebody who's better suited for it. I can start at the bottom because I haven't worked here. Hence the doc job.
You know, you make a very good point there. I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry to have embarrassed you. I by no means meant to do so, but I'm very passionate about my business endeavors. And
It seems
So-
like you gained more information in the time between when I spoke to him about a meeting and we had it. And I was not prepared because I didn't take the time to ask you what you were going to speak about. That put me on the back foot of it. And I wasn't ready for it, and that's not your fault. You're right. You didn't embarrass me. I embarrassed myself by not being prepared.
really, the meeting was meant to be about our business, but after meeting with the manager and him saying that he needed to have, the mayor sign off on it, I volunteered to take the paperwork to the mayor since we were going to be meeting with him anyways.
But no, that's a completely wise and fair thing to do, Coca-Cola. You have all the markings of a great leader, my dear. And just because your decisions and ways of going about may be different from mine doesn't mean they're wrong. After all, mine are, 180 years out of date now? I kept up on things pretty well until I was about 10. But yeah, maybe I've forgotten how to shift and change. Even the stone moves with the river.
I appreciate you, grandfather, regardless. My apologies for any embarrassment you may have felt.
Unnecessary but accepted. And this is about when you get back to the farm. Grandfather heads into the farm instead of turning around to head back like he said he might. And that's what we're going to call this session. Thank you for joining us. I've had a wonderful time running this. If anybody has any outro things they want to do, anything they want to promote, feel free. We will be back next week for Thanksgiving. We'll be taking the holiday off. But hope to see everyone in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see everybody after the holiday. We won't see you next Monday either, friends. So enjoy your holiday if it's something you celebrate. If not, enjoy not having to listen to me be an asshole to the mayor, who I absolutely do not like. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night, everybody.